editing your full-length digital feature. Now, one thing I want to tell you from Jump Street is to edit your scenes first before you put everything on a timeline. Because if you try to edit every raw sequence back to back into your timeline, you'll be there all day and it will be a drag. Shoot, it will be longer than a day. You may be there for weeks. So the best thing I recommend is to break your scenes down. Literally break them down, scene by scene. Edit them as whole and then put them together as one in the film. Now, I had to take this film from Final Cut to Adobe, from Adobe to Final Cut to figure out which was the better workflow. Now, they both work fine, if you ask me. They work both fine. One is not better than the other, but I do appreciate working in Final Cut because as I'm editing, it renders itself. Now, I want to show you guys what's going on right here. Now, you see, in the beginning, I had the scenes all edited already. All the scenes were already pre-edited before I put on the timeline. Now, this side of the film was actually put together back to back, and I did this on purpose to show you why it could be chaotic. So, as you see, it's very simple right here. This whole thing is a scene. This whole thing is a scene. But then the next scene starts, and this is the whole scene right here. The whole scene does that. And some other scenes, that work out properly, it just fall through. But majority of it is a whole bunch of different tapes cobbled together as one. And when it's so tiny, like the way it is before, and I did like this, you can't tell what's going on right here, So you have to dig in all the way in to see, all right, what part of the film is this, This is an hour and 12 minutes into the film, And this scene don't have no dialogue at all, right here. It actually has a voiceover, you see? And so I could have easily made a mistake and deleted it, thinking, oh, I must have wanted this stuff out of the film, not realizing that this was the whole action sequence. This is the whole chase scene right here, I know I say a lot. Make this a drinking game. Every time you hear me say take a shot. But I honestly prefer that I edit my sequences together, scene by scene first, and then I put it in. Because when I do it sporadic like this, it makes the timeline very, very long, and it makes the file way bigger than it needs to be. You're looking at maybe a 10 gig file sometimes because of the way it works. But like I said, I appreciate working in Final Cut when it comes to editing. The workflow to me, it works a lot better, but that's also because I'm still very new to Adobe. I'm still learning how it works. But Final Cut has a very smooth, simple workflow. And at first, I wasn't a big fan of Final Cut Pro X because I was so used to stuff like Final Cut Pro 7 and Sony Vegas Movie Studio. And before Sony Vegas Movie Studio, was on Windows Movie Maker. So you go with the times and you learn and you upgrade. But when it comes to your full-length feature film, it does not matter what you start editing on. When I first started editing this film, the exact film that we're looking at right now, I started editing on Windows Movie Maker. And then I moved my way up to Sony Vegas, and then I moved my way up to Final Cut, and then I went to Adobe, and I went back to Final Cut, and I'm still going back and forth. But like I said, it depends on your workflow, But like I say, if you can, edit the scenes on a separate timeline because it gets hectic. It really gets hectic really quick, especially when it comes to like visual effects, like as you see right here. Things it's not so smooth, and you want to be able to you don't have to keep coming back to the specific shot over and over. You want to have it done already, so when you put in the final pieces together, it's already set in stone, and you don't have to fix it over and over. Another thing I want to bring up when shooting is filming and editing green screen. Now, editing green screen is not the easiest thing to do. It's like playing pretend. So you have to imagine what you're filming a lot, and then when you get to the editing room, you have to pretty much play God and make it come to life. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't work. It depends on the lighting, depends on who's behind the camera, and it really depends on your imagination. You have to really not only shoot it properly, but place everything properly because everything's shot on green screen. So you have to really imagine what's going on and then put everything there. And if you don't, then it doesn't work. I actually cut that sequence out the film just because I couldn't get someone to design the background properly. The background is everything, Chase scenes, I also think, are like maybe the hardest thing to shoot because you have a lot of takes of just running. and you have to pick the right angles and the right cuts, and keep up with continuity. If you don't keep up with continuity, they will notice. Like right here, you see he has a coat on this shot. Next shot, no coat, and there's an extra person running behind him. I had to cut out the whole sequence in the movie because it no longer worked. Because now he pretty much have a whole new outfit on, and now he's not by himself. So continuity is a big thing when you work on a full length film. And when you have a full length 2 hour movie, little things you will drop and you not notice it. So you have to pay attention to every little detail because it's especially a 2 hour movie. Certain things are gonna just fall through the cracks, and then you realize it later when you're watching it. Like, ah, snap! How did I forget that part? Especially when you have it all clumped up like this, everything back to back to back to back. That's why it's best to have it all edited separately, and then you come together and put it together as one whole film.